Hi, my name is Alice Massey. I'm a Regional Support Specialist with the Eastern Oregon Regional Support Program. Today I'll be giving you some information about an important document used in foster care, the Individual Support Plan. The Individual Support Plan, or ISP, is a plan of care developed for each person you serve in foster care. This plan documents what's going on in the person's life, as well as the supports you will need to provide for them. Let's take a look at all of the areas covered in the ISP. The plan will address all of the important aspects of the individual's life, including their personal preferences regarding activities and involvement with family and friends. It will also examine the person's abilities and support needs in the areas of communication, school or employment, financial management, medical care, behavior support, safety issues, and activities of daily living. If we envision all of the different supports you provide to the person as the spokes of a wheel, then the individual support plan is the hub of that wheel. It indicates a consensus agreement between that person and their support team members of the services that are needed. It's also a written source that justifies the service payment you receive for providing foster care for that individual, because it documents their individual support needs. The ISP is a critical document that should be developed carefully with great consideration given to the needs and desires of the person you're serving. The ISP should be faithfully carried out, as it is a covenant between you and a team of people, all of whom have a vested interest in helping that individual be happy and successful. When a person moves into your foster home, they usually have a number of people who care about their welfare and will be participants in their placement and care. Here is a list of people who could potentially take part in helping to develop an ISP for someone in foster care. Besides yourself and the person served, this group could include family members, a legal guardian if they have one appointed, a developmental disabilities case manager, a representative from the person's school or vocational program, a child welfare caseworker, and possibly additional people. This group will be identified as the ISP team for that individual. As you might imagine, each member of this team knows the person in a different way. They will meet at least once a year to combine their best thinking in developing and approving the ISP, as well as to discuss any additional issues the person may be facing. Keep in mind that the ISP team can meet any time a concern arises. They don't have to limit the meetings to once a year. Any member of the team can call a meeting together. A designee of the team will be responsible to actually write the ISP document. As the person providing foster care, you are a very important member of the ISP team. Let's take a look at a blank ISP form page by page to familiarize you with the format and contents. A copy of this form is included in your participant packet, so you may follow along if you like. The first page of the ISP looks like this. It has a place at the top for the person's name, a box to check to indicate whether the person is a child or an adult, and a blank for the date. The plan then starts out on a positive note by asking for a list of what is most important in the person's life, including indications of what works and what does not work for them. If any of us were entering a situation where we were going to be cared for by strangers, we would want to make sure they had accurate information about what was most important to us. We would also want to ensure that they made good use of that information by caring for us in a manner that respected our preferences and needs. That's the reason for giving careful consideration to this opening section of the ISP. The lower half of this page introduces the format that will be used for the remainder of the ISP using 3 columns. The left-hand column will list the service needs and issues for the person. The middle column will include an accurate description of the types and frequency of supports that will be given to the person in that particular area. The right-hand column will list the person or persons responsible to carry out each support listed. The section on this first page starts by addressing the individual's community activities and personal goals. Another way to think of the ISP is as a task list. Every single type of support a person needs will be put on the list along with the name of who will do it. Let's turn to page 2. As you can see, the same format continues here. The top portion of the page will address how family and friends will be involved in the person's life and the supports needed to make those contacts possible. The lower half of the page looks at any court orders or restrictions that might be placed upon the person. As you might imagine, this is especially critical information to be aware of and to document and follow meticulously. On page 3, the person's communication abilities and needs will be examined. Notice that there is space to indicate if the person needs or uses special equipment and consultation services in this area. The lower half of the page reviews the person's employment or school situation, including supports needed from the foster care provider. Page 4 offers space for the team to develop a plan of action to carry out if the person is ever missing. For some people, this is rarely, if ever, an issue. For others, it might be more likely to occur, possibly due to the person's inclination to wander off. No one wants to think of a person in foster care ever being missing, yet it is critical to have a plan in place if it should ever happen. This plan should include all information pertinent to this person's situation. For example, it could list the places the individual might be likely to go, so team members would know the first places to look for them. Notice that a space is available for the team to list a time frame after which efforts to find the person will occur. Some people might be safe without direct supervision for a few minutes or possibly hours, while others might be in danger if they are without supervision for even a few moments. Only the person's ISP team can determine what the proper time frame might be. On page 5, the person's financial situation and support needs are addressed. Notice in the left-hand column that there is space to list bank names, income sources, and regular expenses for that individual. It should also specify the names of the person's representative payee or conservator if those have been appointed. As usual, the middle column calls for a description of the types of support the person needs in managing their money. Some people may be independent and not need assistance, while others need varying levels and types of help. There are spaces to indicate the amount of spending money the person will keep on hand, as well as spending limits for the person. Purchases over a certain amount may require approval prior of their ISP team members. Following this financial plan portion of the ISP is a critical step in helping to prevent persons in foster care from experiencing financial loss, theft, or exploitation. The next several pages of the ISP address medical issues for the individual. Proper care for health concerns is important to all of us, but it is especially crucial for persons with developmental disabilities. Many people with developmental disabilities may not be able to accurately describe or report symptoms, so even minor health concerns can become major, even life-threatening problems if not treated promptly and appropriately. There are 4 particular conditions that so frequently seriously endanger people that they have been dubbed the Fatal 4. These conditions include aspiration, constipation, seizures, and dehydration. The ISP carefully examines the individual's needs, if any, regarding these 4 conditions, as well as any other health concerns the person experiences. As a foster care provider, your adherence to the supports described on these pages is of paramount importance. In fact, you could easily save a life by being observant and conscientious in giving good health supports to a person in your care. Page 6 begins by answering the question of whether or not the individual can self-administer their medications. Some people are quite capable of doing this task themselves, while others might need some help. This page also addresses 2 of the Fatal 4 conditions, aspiration or choking, and seizures. Notice that in the left-hand column under each topic area, there are a number of yes or no questions to be answered. Whether or not the person needs medications or treatments, protocols, follow-up action, or one-on-one staffing. A protocol is an addendum to the ISP detailing a particular plan of action or treatment that will be followed for a specific condition or situation. Protocols are often recommended for persons who take frequent medications for certain conditions, particularly the Fatal Four, and for people who are not able to report symptoms as they occur. Your ISP team members and medical professionals will help you determine if someone in your care needs additional protocols written.